Yasmin Davila?
Yes.
Davila, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, man.
Yes,
Okay.
On October 17, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a one motor vehicle accident at 2000 block of Forest Oaks Road in Harris County, Texas. Upon arrival, the officer observed the defendant standing near the driver's side door of his vehicle, and the officer observed the vehicle to be completely disabled since it had crashed against a large tree. The defendant admitted to being the sole occupant and driver of the vehicle, and the officer observed the defendant to have slurred speech, a moderate odor of an alcoholic beverage, and red glossy eyes. The defendant admitted to drinking, and standard field sobriety tests were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 6 out of 8, and the one leg stand was 3 out of 4. The DIC was read, but the defendant refused, and a blood warrant was obtained and executed.
Okay, Ms. Davila, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a Texas driver license, ma'am? Do you have valid liability insurance in your name? Then you're not allowed to drive. If you don't have car insurance, you may not drive, and I'm making that a condition of your bond. I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or any kind of dope, I will put you in jail. Alex, she has a prior obstruction of a highway. Those are usually DWIs that are reduced to either like a reckless or a obstruction. Is this a prior DWI that was reduced? And if you can run her to see if she has any DWIs from elsewhere, please.
Yes, Your Honor, and the obstruction does not appear to be a prior DWI that was
Is it
reduced.
true obstruction?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll run her NCIC and double check for you.
Please.
Your Honor, she has no other prior DWIs or open cases.
The reason I'm asking that, ma'am, is that if I see that you had any prior contacts, I would put an interlock on your car. I'm not going to at this point, but I am ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. If I find that you're consuming anything, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand?
I do.
What do you do for a living, man? How old are you?
I'm 20. I'm a bartender.
You're 20?
8.
You're 28. Where do you bartend at? At a local bar?
Heights. No, I live 30 minutes away from it.
Be careful. Temptation is high when you work in a bar. Understand, I'm not going to accept this. Oh, a beer fell into my mouth, or I slipped and fell and alcohol came. Doesn't matter. Don't consume alcohol. You understand? How much money do you make a month, man?
Say 2,000.
Are you married?
I'm not.
Children? Can you afford a lawyer?
I can't. No.
Let's do this. I'll have you fill out an application. I need to know everything about you. I need to know how much money you have in the bank, your expenses, all income that you have coming in from any other places, whether it be this or that. I need to know everything about you, and I'll see whether you qualify for an appointed lawyer. We'll have you fill that out. I'm now going to also have you sign an affidavit that you're not allowed to drive until you have car insurance. And then I'm going to have you sign a receipt with Victoria. You'll eventually get with pre-trial for your bond conditions. Then we'll have you take your seat in the jury box. Okay? Please. Are you Miss Newbin?
Yes, sir.
Miss Newbin, you're charged with failure to stop and give information, which is leaving the scene of an accident without exchanging information. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Yes. On October 16, 2024, the officers were dispatched to a citizen following a failure to stop and give information suspect in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the complainant, whose vehicle had a large-sized dent in the rear quarter panel with damages that appeared to be new. The defendant's vehicle had minor dents and scratches on the left panel of the motor vehicle. The complainant stated he was driving when the defendant tried to change lanes into the lane the complainant was in, but the defendant ended up hitting the complainant instead. The complainant stated the defendant quickly drove southbound, stopped one time, and stated she would not provide information regarding an accident that had only caused some scratches and bumps. The complainant stated the defendant then drove away and the complainant followed her to an apartment complex, with the gate closing before the complainant could follow her inside. The defendant stated she was driving. She attempted to get over to the far left lane. The complainant was on the phone and not paying attention, and she hit the complainant, causing minor scratches and dents. The defendant stated the complainant looked crazy, so she did not stop and kept driving into other parking lots to avoid the complainant. The defendant stated there were only minor damages, so she should not have to provide information. The damage was approximately $200.
Okay. Ms. Newman, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? You are not allowed to drive. I am making that a condition of your bond. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising you're not going to drive. If I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand? If you want to drive, all I'm asking you to do is follow the law, get a license, get liability insurance, and then I'll let you drive. But if I find that you drive in violation of this, there's going to be a heavy, heavy toll. Do you understand? What do you do for a living, man?
Hairstylist,
How much money do you make a month?
around 2,500.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
How many children do you have? Do you get support for the kids? You want to apply for an appointed lawyer? Okay, I'm gonna have you come up here, swear to us that you're not gonna drive. She's gonna give you an application for a court appointed lawyer. I need you to fill out everything for me and be honest, and I'll see whether you qualify. After that, I'll have you take a seat. I'll have you sign a receipt with Victoria, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box, right? Okay? Please.
Good morning,
Hi,
yeah.
Irma. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Your timing is impeccable.
Yes, sir.
You ready? Let's go. Do you want a second to talk to him first?
Just the arraignment, right?
No, I haven't done it yet.
Okay, let's just do
Do
it.
you want to, you want to wait?
We're good. We're
You're
good.
good?
I've already
Okay.
spoken.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Cruz Mendoza.
Hágase para acá, por favor. Bueno,
Sir, you were charged with driving while intoxicated. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
estará en contra de
You
usted.
have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Uno podría ser asignado.
On October 16th, 2024, the officer conducted a traffic stop for the defendant impeding traffic and for an improper turn. The defendant was the sole occupant and operator of the motor vehicle. Upon contact, the officer observed the defendant with red, watery, bloodshot eyes, an odor of an alcoholic beverage, slurred speech, and poor balance. The defendant appeared confused and was unable to tell the officer where she was coming from. The defendant advised he consumed 4 12-ounce Corona beers and 1 40-ounce Corona beer prior to operating the vehicle. 9 open containers of 12-ounce Corona beers were located inside the motor vehicle, all cold to the touch.
Drinking while he's driving? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Your
Es
Honor.
lo que conducía, es lo que me está diciendo. Sí, señor.
Standard field sobriety
Las
tests
pruebas de
were
estándar de
conducted.
seguridad se habían
HGN was 6 out of 6.
Es decir, HGN de
Walk
las
and
6
turn,
a
8
6,
out of 8.
de 8 de 8,
One leg stand, 0 out of 4.
pararse una pierna, 0 de
The
4.
DIC was
El
read
DIC se
and the
leyó
defendant
y
consented
el
to breath.
acusado dio
The
consentimiento
results were
gozoso de
.138 and .14.
.14.
Mr. Cruz Mendoza,
Señor Cruz
I'm going to
Mendoza,
find that there's
Yo voy a
probable
encontrar que
cause
sí
to
hay
go
suficiente
forward with your
motivo para
case.
seguir adelante con
I
su
would
caso.
hope that you recognize it's elementary that you're not supposed to have alcohol in the car while you are driving. And I'm going to tell you now that in and of itself is a minimum of 5 days in jail to any sentence that you get. What is your immigration status in this country? Are you here with or without permission?
Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
Va a la cárcel. I
Think.
don't know. Piense.
Don't tell him, Enrique. I
No
want
le
him to
diga,
think.
Enrique. Quiero que lo piense.
Are you in this country with or without permission?
Sin permiso.
Simple.
Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
Si acaso usted va a la cárcel. Deportation.
Right. Exactly
Exactly.
right.
Cierto.
You will get an immigration detainer. You will be stuck like Chuck in jail until this case is over with, and then you will be shipped off to immigration, where you will sit for another 6 to 9 months waiting for immigration to do whatever they're going to do. And I'm going to tell you now, if you do anything close to anything more than 4 hours in custody, they will put a detainer on you. Do you understand?
¿Entiende? Yes.
I'm putting conditions on your bond now. And if I find that you violate them in any way, I will put you in jail and you will not get any more PR bonds. If you do not have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, you are not to drive. I am now making that a condition of your bond. Do not drive. Do you understand?
¿Entiende? Yes.
I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I will randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol and kind of drugs, likewise, you will go to jail. No more PR bonds.
Voy a encarcelar y no voy a perdón.
I didn't have any pride either, guys, Alex.
Señor
No, Your Honor.
presidente, no, señor.
Sign that.
Have a great
Ok,
lawyer.
usted tiene un gran abogado.
It is your responsibility to stay in touch with Mr. Ramirez, and he will tell you when you have to come back to court. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games and not responding to phone calls or text messages, I will issue a warrant for your arrest.
A ver, orden de arresto.
Do you understand?
¿Entiende?
I'm going to tell you now that I will do everything in my power to protect this county.
Au-
I will protect this county at all costs. This is the only warning that you are going to get from us, so I hope that you heed it. There will be no more for you.
Es que no va a haber otra.
I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. After that, I'll get you to Victoria, where we'll have you sign a reset. After that, you'll get with pretrial for your bond conditions. And after that, you guys are free to go. Be safe when you're out there and make good decisions.
Cuidado cuando andas allá afuera y
Judge, I've
tome
asked
buenas
the state to sign
decisiones.
a standard discovery order for your execution. I don't know where it's at.
It's with Chief.
I'll sign it for you, Enrique. Okay.
Pase para acá.
Ernest Javon Steed.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Steed, you're charged with violation of a bond condition or protective order. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On October 2nd, 2024, officers were dispatched to a disturbance at a residence in Harris County, Texas. The complainant stated that the defendant came to her apartment and rang the doorbell. The complainant has footage of the defendant from the doorbell camera showing him outside her apartment door trying to talk to her through the camera. On June 5th, 2024, the court issued a protective order which states the defendant is prohibited from coming within 200 feet of the complainant's residence, and the order is in full effect until June 5th, 2026. The defendant was given notice on May 31st, 2024 of the application of the order and was in a Zoom video on the date of the hearing.
Is this from the 280,
Yes, Your Honor.
the domestic violence court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you know if he has any open cases now anywhere else? You mind checking?
I'll run NCIC, Your Honor. No open cases, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Steed, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I want you to understand that the Texas Constitution does not allow me, but in extremely limited circumstances, to hold someone at no bond, zero bond. This is one of those cases that if we put conditions on your violation of protective order and you violate these conditions, I can have a hearing to hold you at no bond until this case is over with. And I will do that in a heartbeat to protect every single person of this county. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm ordering you now not to have any contact with this person and not to be in possession of any weapons. I'm not asking much. I'm just asking you, don't have any contact with this person. Don't go near within 200 feet of where they live or where they work. If you violate it again, you know what's going to happen. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you see a mark that's been granted on this one? I want to make you aware of one more thing, that I'm going to enter, and if there's not a protective order now, other than the one in there, I'm going to enter in a new one right now. And if you violate the protective order again, you will be charged with a third-degree felony, looking at 2 to 10 in the penitentiary, because a second or subsequent violation of protective order, that's a third-degree felony, and you're looking at a lot of time in prison. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
No means no. Doesn't mean maybe, doesn't mean she called me, asked me to come over. Just no means no. That's it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm entering in what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection. Magistrate order for emergency protection that identifies Brianna Ford as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. Commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot stalk, threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot go within 200 feet of where she lives or where she works, and you cannot be in possession of a weapon. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
No one can authorize you to violate this statute. So if she were to call you and say, hey, man, come on over, let's talk about this, and you go to that address listed in here, you're still in violation. So just don't have any contact with the person. Don't go over there and you'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
What do you do for a living?
Photographer, and I do Uber as well.
Do you have a Texas driver license?
Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi.
How
I'm
long?
back and forth.
What's the domicile? Where do you live?
I live in Houston, but I do a lot of photography in Mississippi, so I kind of go back and forth on the weekends.
Do you have liability insurance in your name?
Yes.
Have car insurance in your name?
Yes.
Okay. As long as you have car insurance in your name and you have a license and you may continue to drive, just don't violate this protective order.
Yes, sir.
We are going to give you time for you to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you come up here, sign the protective order. We'll give you a copy of the protective order. I'll have you sign a reset with Victoria. We'll have you take a seat while I get your bond conditions for you, no contact, no weapons. After you sign it, you'll be free to go. All right? Come on. Morning, Mr. Huey. How's jail?
Cold.
Yeah, that's true. It's cold, dark, smells. That's right. Your lawyer has asked for me to give you a PR bond. Why would I do that? You don't come to court. We give you a PR bond, you go back on the street, and then do whatever you want. You don't come back to court.
I'll make it this time. I promise.
Uh-huh. We've heard that before, Mr. Huey. Uh-huh. We've heard that before, Mr. Huey. He's asked for me to give you a PR bond. The only way I'm going to let you out is if you have a place to go to. I'm not letting you out to the street. If you have a place to go to, that someone's going to take you in and let you sleep there. And one of the conditions of your bond will be that you go to this place and that you stay there. I don't want you roaming the streets. Nothing good happens on the streets. How old are you? Oof.
Order in the court.
The hard living 42, man. You don't look 42. And I'm going to tell you, living on the streets, 15 years will pass in the blink of an eye. When you're 50, you're going to look like you're 120, because that's the hard living on the street. And I'm not done with that. And it's not going to happen here. So if you can find a place that's willing to take him in and that's willing to keep him there for an extended period, meaning that he stays there for most of the day and just roam the street using, If I drug test you now, what are you gonna test positive for?
Yeah, probably not. I'll be honest, probably not. Marijuana, and that's it.
What else?
That's it, marijuana.
I don't believe that. What else, Mr. Huey? If you're not honest with me, I'm not giving you a PR bond.
Silence in the court.
I did PCP 2 weeks ago.
Stop.
Oh, we,
It's ruining your life.
yes, sir.
I don't see what the fascination with PCP is, man. Reach out, see who you can find out who he's got in his life, who's ready to take him in, and then we'll talk. But if you find someone, I'm down, but not to the street.
Your Honor, if I'm unable to find someone, are you open to us approaching on
It's
it?
open to anything, of course. You know,
If he does elect to accept the plea offer from the district attorney and do the time served, is that?
I'm going to tell you this, Mr. Huey, now that I'm done with catch and release. And I'm done with the fact that you continue to pick up cases and then get out of here on time served. This is not a revolving door. So if you're someone who's going to continue to catch cases and get into jail, I'm going to have you TRAS. And if they recommend residential treatment, that's what we're going to do. So no more of this catch and release. Do you understand? Okay. All right. You let me know. Okay.